Marvel's editor-in-chief and one of the best guys in the world, one of my best friends. With us, please, Mr. C.B. Cebulski.
Hello, Utrecht, how are you?
So,
Marvel fans? All right, thank you for coming.
So next up is Mr. Chris Allen. Please come in.
Chris?
Just sit down whatever you want. Next up, Mr. C.F. Villa.
Hello, hello.
Mr. Federico Vicentini. He speaks Dutch. Next up, Miss Elena Casagrande.
Hi everyone.
Then Miss Jan Bazaldúa. Then Mr. Lucas Werneck.
Lucas.
And last but not least, this guy. No, Mr. Martin Coccolo. Please big applause for them. Now you talk.
All right. Well, look at this lineup of talent. It's absolutely amazing to have all of these 7 artists here with us in Utrecht. And, you know, they represent the artists drawing some of the best characters at Marvel. Black Panther, Avengers, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Black Widow and Blade, Captain Marvel, X-Men, and Thor. I mean, amazing. The 7 artists of 7 of Marvel's top comics together here on stage for you. So please, we'll talk to them a little and then we want you to ask questions. You have unique access to these 7 artists from around the world here for you today. And we'll be signing over in Comics Alley all day.
So, first off, I'm going to ask every single one of you which is the character you hate the most. No, I mean the one you like. Whoa, the one you like the most. So, Chris, who's your favorite character?
Number 1 character in Marvel Comics, Ironheart, without a doubt. But Black Panther, I love Black Panther right now.
So you're right now drawing the Black Panther, bro.
Absolutely amazing.
What is that meaning for you as an artist and as a person?
It's really surreal. I mean, and to be given the keys to something like that, to just be given free reign to just make something that's uniquely your own, that's gonna like live on past you. It's incredible.
So Elena, wake up. So, what's your favorite character?
My favorite character is Daredevil. And I prayed Turbin to make me draw him just 1 week ago, but the project was already given to another team, but never say never, so in the future maybe I'll be on Daredevil.
Maybe.
Just so you know, this woman won an Eisner from Black Widow, so she is a tremendous artist as they all are. So, Lucas, what's your favorite X-Men?
Oh my god, there's so many great characters in X-Men.
I'm in the middle, I'm sorry.
But I think I really love to draw Emma Frost and Jean Grey.
The guy who draws Avengers, you have to pick one.
That's like picking my favorite son. I mean,
Oh, you have to.
that's cheating. But of course, out of all of them, I really envy Martin because he's drawing Thor.
So you're next.
I do like Thor a lot. But my favorite characters to draw, I've always said it, both Wolverines, Logan and Laura, and Spidey, of course. And of course Black Cat.
So, you're doing Thor. Be honest. What's much fun to draw? Thor or Loki? Or, you know, Thor, the heroes or the villains?
The banter is the fun part. Yeah, I mean, having them interact and fight with each other is like the most fun part. Yeah.
Good. Jan. So, what's your favorite Marvel character to draw? What's your favorite Marvel character to draw?
Well, when I draw my Miles Morales. I was very, very excited. It was actually, I think it was the first character what I draw. I was very, very, very glad with that.
And finally, Federico, what's your favorite character to draw?
My favorite characters are Spider-Man.
Which Spider-Man?
Both. Peter Miles and Daredevil.
Okay. So now, one question for you. As you guys know, they are the Marvel Stormbreakers. I don't know if you know what a Stormbreaker is, so I need to ask CB to explain to you what's the Marvel Stormbreakers and why are these guys, why they were picked to be the next generation of Marvel Stormbreakers.
Yeah, so the Stormbreakers is a program that started about 20 years ago with a different name. It was called Young Guns. And it was Marvel's way of identifying who are the superstar artists that you will know the names of for generations to come. And some of the original members were Olivier Coipel, Adi Granoff, Brian Hitch, Steve McNiven, people that have gone on to create amazing comics and characters for Marvel. And we do that every few years. And now we change the name to Stormbreakers and we pick a class. Myself, Ricky Purdon, the talent manager, and the editors at Marvel have meetings. Who are the next group of elite artists that we want you to know? And then this was the class we picked. You know, the Stormbreakers are here now. It's the first time ever that all the Stormbreakers have been together in one place. 7. Unfortunately, Nic Klein, who's the 8th, couldn't be here, but it's amazing to have these 8 people together. And these are the artists who are going to define the Marvel characters and Marvel comics for the next generation. And we could not be happier and prouder that these are the artists that represent Marvel around the world today.
So, a question for you all. Why you didn't decide that you wanted to do comics as your living? It was a decision, or it was just with you since you were a kid?
This has been a part of my life. I've known what I want to do since I was 6 years old, and nothing has ever changed that. No, nothing in my life has ever changed that. And I started drawing independent comics when I was 16, and I just stayed with it. I'm 51 now, so like this is just like
you don't look it. You look 30.
I'm staying here forever, and I'm never leaving. But no, this is just it's such a beautiful art form. The people that you meet along the way are incredible. Comics never ceases to surprise you in its humanity and its beauty. So yeah.
Martin, when did you decide to do comics and why?
I always knew that I wanted to draw for a living, and I always was a huge fan of comics since I was like 5. So I was like in between like drawing, like fantasy drawing, like D&D and all that stuff. But I ended up like, I don't know, I just felt, comics felt right for me. So I took that path and I'm still doing it. And I plan to keep doing it as long as people give me job to do so, yeah.
So you want...
David, real quick. I think what we should do maybe first is have everybody tell them where they're from. We didn't identify how international that this group of artists is. So if everybody could say where you're from,
yes,
and how many hours it took you to get from your home to Utrecht, door to door.
So, Chris, where are you from?
I'm from San Antonio, Texas. It was supposed to take us about 12 hours, but thank goodness they switched planes because there was problems with the hydraulics on the original plane, and I watch a lot of like shows that don't turn out so well. So it took about 16 hours to get here, but it was a lovely flight.
I think it deserves a big round of applause for 16 hours on a plane to be here. So, what about you, CF?
Hello, well, I'm from Mexico, and it took us like 11 to 12 hours visiting here. First time in Europe, first time crossing the big pond, and I'm here with my wife, and and my parents are also visiting Europe. Lovely country. Thank you so much for inviting us. Happy to be here.
I'm from Italy. That's it.
From Venice, to be more specific. Elena.
Well, I'm from Italy as well, and it took me only 2 hours and a half by flight to come here, and this is my second time here. I've been here in November, so I'm very happy to back here, and that's it. We are losing this fighting of hours flight. Yeah, we are the closest one.
And we're really happy to have you back. Jan?
Hi, I'm from Mexico too. I'm coming, I'm almost on 10 hours of travel. This is my first time here in Amsterdam. It's a really, really nice country. Thank you very much to all of you.
I'm from Brazil, and this is my first time, my first international trip, so I'm very excited, and it took me 12 hours to be here. Yeah, thanks.
And I'm from Colonia, Uruguay. It took me like 15 hours. This is my first time in Europe and my first time in Utrecht, which I love. It's an incredible city and I'm having a lot of fun. So yeah, it's a long flight, but it's really cool, really cool.
Oh, me?
Yeah, of course. You started the question, so you have to answer it.
I'm from New York City, and I was in Paris first year on some top secret Marvel business. But I've been to Holland before, but this is my first time in Utrecht. And like everyone said, it's beautiful. We walked around the city yesterday, had such a wonderful time, seeing the canals, drinking beer, eating cheese and bitterballen, and all different kinds of things. So thank you for welcoming us with such open arms, and it really is a pleasure to be here.
So, Simi, you mentioned before, when we were talking about the Stormbreakers, about them being the next generation of elite artists for Marvel. But my question to you is, what makes them the guys, what made you and Ricky, the talent manager, pick them above everybody else? Why are they so special, in the good sense?
It's really hard to identify with Marvel artists what makes each one unique, because Marvel has never had a house style. So what we look for at Marvel is something that we have not seen before. Something that makes the artist unique, that makes them diverse. And what can their style and their storytelling and their dynamics bring to Marvel? And each of the artists here has different qualities that we've identified that we think fits perfectly with each of the characters or the teams that they are drawing. And if you compare the style of these 7 artists, they're vastly, vastly different. But from what they bring to each style, with each style to each character, is something I really want people to experience for themselves. Be it the energy, the way they draw Spider-Man, the way they draw Captain America, or the power they add to Thor, or the kind of subtleness they bring to Emma Frost. Each one, is truly special, and I encourage you to please go check out their work. We have it all on display here, for sale here also down in the comic alley.
So, Lucas, what's the most difficult for you? You wake up every day, you start working. What's the most difficult part of the work for you? Is it the layout? Is it the finishes? What is the part that is more difficult to you to make every day?
The first thing that came to my mind was the deadline. The deadline is the hardest part, but I think in a technical part, I think is the layout. I think we talked before about this, but we are here to tell stories. So tell the story is the most difficult part for me. Like makes all clear,
Tell it well, tell it clearly, right?
Yes, yes.
That part about telling stories, that's an important thing, Chris. In this case, we were discussing it yesterday at dinner, and we all agreed about comics is not selling stamps or stickers. It's about telling stories. how much do you focus on the page as a whole before you even start in the layouts, when you read the script?
I will say that my style of storytelling is very, I like to think of the progression of events, so I'm not really thinking about the page itself so much as how the action progresses on a page, and then once I have a progression that I like, then it's time to put it on the page. So if the action doesn't make sense on the offing, then that's always my first step. It's a way that I can tell like an interesting fight scene, and then tell an interesting scene of like two people sitting in a room talking about like their haircuts.
It's more difficult for you, CF. The people sitting in a bar talking, or the fight scene.
Absolutely. People sitting in a bar, just talking about life, not punching at all. That's the hardest part for me in comics. I mean, no, it's really nuanced. Like, I pay specific attention to the expressions of the characters. So that's what I really like to work on in quiet scenes. The acting of Black Cat doing a specific reaction to a dialogue from Mary Jane or from Peter Parker. That's kind of like the joy I found in making a page. And you have 20 pages to tell a story most of the times, maybe 30 sometimes when there's special issues. But I focused on each page, making the action of what is happening in that space. In that page, that is my biggest panel. The focus that I try to give a page, to give it just a special focus, like a focal center, and just flow everything from there. And that's kind of like my process on each page, and trying to make it full in a full, well-told story in 20 pages.
Elena, you were laughing. So, why?
I always think that the most difficult thing to draw for me is crowd. Crowd and landscape from the point of view of a bird, panoramic. But I agree with Lucas. The most difficult part of the job, also it's not difficult, it's just that it requires me a lot of energies to do the layout, to decide the storytelling. I used to do tons on the pages of the script just to decide the direction of each panels, and I need to be quiet in the moment, and that point is the most important process of my job. Then I can also turn off the brain and just relax on the pages, except for the crowds. But yes, when I see final issues that are done, if it works without balloons, I'm pretty satisfied. And it's not against the writers, but if a story works and it's fluent and understandable, also without balloons, it's a good story.
And don't forget, y'all, if you're thirsty, there's water down below at your feet. So I could hear my throat getting.
Martin, about what Elena was mentioning, how important it is for you to establish a scene. In comics we have something that's called establishing shots, where you show all the scene where everything is going to take place. How important it is for you to establish where the characters are going to be?
I mean, it's extremely important. You have to struggle sometimes to... Sometimes things look right on page, but when you translate it to images, there are small things that are missing. So making establishing shots, trying to not make the camera movements confusing. You have to help the reader understand the story as naturally as possible. So those things are like super hard, and they are super important. Like layouts, as the other artist said, I can't, when I'm working on a page, I can have like a YouTube or whatever, or music, but when I'm working on layouts, I have to be absolutely quiet and just focus on that. Because the style is the dressing, but the layouts are the foundation. So that's like super hard, and you have to really focus on that. I think that's the most important part. Maybe not the most fun part, but it's definitely the most important. So there's a lot of there's an architecture, there's a math to a page. So exploring that it's hard, but when it comes out right, it's like super. It's awesome. It's amazing. Yeah.
So Lucas, you just drew a cover with a character getting married.
Yes.
Can you tell everybody who's getting married in Marvel Comics?
Yeah, the next biggest wedding in Marvel is Emma Frost and
Tony Stark.
So Iron Man is getting married.
yeah.
Just so you guys know. To we can call her villain? No.
I don't know.
No, we
I
can't.
don't know. We can say nothing.
We should ask the boss.
Yeah, it's certainly. Yeah, it's certainly an interesting couple. But yeah, we just released the cover last week, right?
But fans are going to have to read to see, is it a marriage of love? Is it a marriage of convenience? Is it a marriage of power?
So we have a big mystery here, you guys, that you can miss.
Yeah.
There's definitely two type A personalities, though.
Exactly. Two ego.
So, Sibi, I think that most of them is probably the first time you see them, or maybe you haven't seen them in a while. What's the question you have always wanted to ask them and never was able to?
There's a lot of questions I want to ask all of them, but they're more personal and not for something here. I want to just, maybe a question that the crowd might be interested in is, you've all seen the Marvel movies, you've all read Marvel comics, hopefully, and everybody has their favorite character. Whether they like the personality, whether they like Peter Parker, whether they like the Spider-Man costume design. But as artists, it's your job to bring all these characters to life. So my question is, who do you find the most difficult to draw? Which character's costume or anatomy or the way that they move for you takes the most time, and why?
Taking the dirty laundry out, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like John Romita Jr. is one of the legendary Marvel artists, and he is known for drawing Spider-Man. But if you talk to John, he tells you, I hate drawing Spider-Man because the lines on the costume take forever because you have to draw a web on every costume and every panel on every page. But he's one of the most iconic Spider-Man artists of all time, after Steve and his father, John Romita. So I just wonder for you, who is the most difficult character to draw and
So,
why?
Jan, you go first. What's the most difficult character for you to draw?
Most difficult? Well, it's sometimes the detail in the costume, but I think it's when I draw Miles, I enjoy, but it's sometimes it's difficult to show in a spectacular moment because sometimes you don't like the first time and you have to redraw again and again more than one or two times. This is very difficult. The background is very complicated to draw New York or big cities.
Federico, what's the most difficult character for you to draw?
I think Iron Man and Spider-Man. It's the best character, but for me it's complicated to find new poses for him.
Yeah.
So, anybody else has anything to add about
So, CB already knows that there is no character too big or too small for me, and I will put detail in everything. So I'm going to flip this and say that a dear friend of mine who is a professional artist and will go unnamed saw my new design for Black Panther and said, "Man, that's a beautiful design, but I'm glad I'm not the guy who has to draw it." So
I am the guy who has to draw. So you're the one. You're the one.
I'm the one.
Yeah.
Let's go specific because we're talking about most difficult character to do, but you're doing the Avengers. So
No.
in that group, which one is the most
No,
difficult?
Avengers is okay for me right now compared to when I first drew the X-Men, because I'm a big 90s comic book fan, and I've been drawing the X-Men for several years now, and I thought I knew how to draw them. I thought I knew everything about them because I've been drawing them like in the 90s. But when you really get to draw a comic for Marvel, they probably won't have the same costume they had in the 90s. So you have to relearn how to draw them and draw the whole team. So that's kind of like the cool thing about it, and also the hard thing about it. So it's a relearning experience. And then when you do the Avengers, I started to draw them mostly on their iconic characters, but now, thanks to Chris, Black Panther has a new shiny outfit, and Thor has a new shiny outfit as well, and I'm starting to relearn how to draw them, and it's really cool. I really dig it, and I really like the new costumes, but it's tricky. So thank you for that, Chris.
Lucas, what's the most difficult X-Men character to draw?
There's so many. I think the biggest difficult in X-Men is draw too much characters at the same page. But I think Mr. Sinister is difficult for me because it's hard to find his mood. Like, he's funny, but he's not half funny. He's like creepy, but he's sexy, and you don't know what he's thinking. So it's kind of difficult for me to draw him because of this, because I can't figure out his mood, you know?
He's got one face.
So guys, if anybody has any questions, please go ahead here in line and raise your hand so we see you and we'll pass on the microphone. If nobody has questions, we'll just continue. We have 10 more minutes. So is there anybody who wants to ask a question?
Yeah, we'd like to hear from you guys.
Yes?
Yeah, there's a microphone right there if you want to ask. Please don't be shy.
Before y'all get started, I have a question for the Stormbreakers. Something I should have asked you, Tim. I want to know what your magical moment was. When you were drawing something, you were like, this is pure magic. This is what I'm leaving behind. This moment right here. Whether it's a panel or whether it's a comic book or whatever. Like, what was your magic moment?
The double splash pages on Black Widow. Yeah, that's the most the funniest moment of every issue that I draw, because it was a mix of choreography, impact, and respect of the script, and try to find new way from the previous issue. Every issue was a new challenge, and I was very happy to have the chance to work on it totally free to express myself. That was the most major moment for me.
Anyone else?
Yeah. I was wondering, you guys have talked about your favorite characters to draw and what's the hardest to draw. But I was wondering, you Spider-Man uses webs, I use Storm, she's got electric powers, but what's the power most difficult to visualize on the page? So like maybe mind control or something. How do you interestingly bring that on the page, showcase that to the reader?
Yeah, I've got some instances. in which I had to do like time reversal, and it's really hard to do time reversal in comics, especially if there are no like sequence of panels. If I have to show like time reversal in just one panel, you as a reader don't know if it's happening forward or what or backwards, because it's a frozen image. So you have to look for ways with silhouettes and try to come up. The great thing about comics is that every page throws a challenge to you, and you have to draw. You can't afford to say like, I don't know, I suck drawing women, so I won't draw women or children or whatever. You have to do it. You have to draw all races. You have to draw all genders. So you have to come up with resources, with ways to do that. So yeah, time reversal, for example, was like by far some of the most the hardest part of drawing comics.
Next question, please. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Why did you choose this job to do? What was the reason?
Elena.
Can I?
Yes, one of them.
For me, as soon as I started to read comics in my childhood, I understand that that was my best way to tell a story, by images. So I just do it for myself at school, telling a story about myself and my friend. And after I started to read manga, I understand that it could be a job. But I never take it seriously until I attended to a comic book art school, and after that, where I understand how the industry works, I decided that this could be my job in my life.
I think for me, comics was one of my first passion in life. Like when I started to read comics, I was like in the beginning of teenagerhood, which is a difficult phase, and discovering my sexuality, my life, and everything. And I discovered this comics, X-Men, who talks about being different, who talks about feel different, and I just fell in love. And when I discovered that I could do that to like for my life, I really want to maybe give the same impact in someone's life that comics have to me. So that was the meaning for me.
So next question, please.
And I work with a bunch of artists, and it's always very fun to see how artists react to scripts. And my question is, are you an artist that likes a lot of detail in the script, or like to have more creative freedom in the script?
Well, I do enjoy when there is not much detail on the action and they let me run wild with the action, like with the action scenes. You just have to put "and they fight" and I'll get it.
All of you guys, did you like to choreography the fighter scenes, or any of you likes when the writer tells you how to choreograph the fighter scenes?
I do them myself, yeah. I mean, maybe the script is like ultra specific, so I will respect that. But if it isn't,
you will respect that?
It's a collaborative effort. Comics are always like that. From the time you're thinking about a story until it's published, it will always change, it will evolve, it will mutate. So that's beautiful about it. Yeah.
I always say, for you who don't know comics, and said it in my show many times, that when you have something like Marvel, which are really collaborative effort between the writers, the artists, the colors, etc., you never think about it's one person and another person. So no, there's really a third person who is creating which is that creates the final art. It's never one or the other. It's always a piece of the writer, a piece of the artist, a piece of the chorus, a piece of the and a piece of the editor. So it's just that's depending on people creates a new entity that only can happen in comics.
It's totally a collaborative effort. So if you're a writer, you will have a special relation with your illustrator. It's not always going to be the same. You will develop as you work with that illustrator or the collaborator, and it's very nice to discover how you work with certain people, and if it's easy, so it's great. That part is great. With everyone is different. That's the beauty of it. So.
And my advice for writers is to actually visualize the scene. This is super important. Some writers write like in prose, and it might sound good in the page, but when you try to translate it into an image and a scene, if the writer wasn't able to actually visualize what's going on and keep track on the characters and where they are located, etc., it's really hard on the artist. So that's my advice for writers.
And also for writers, real quickly, it's important to have an economy of words, because remember, it might sound good in your head and you want these characters to talk a lot, but those are all balloons that are going to eventually cover up their artwork. So remember, economy of words, get the point across quickly and succinctly is very important as well.
And imagine if they spend 10, 12, 16 hours per page, and then you have like 15 balloons, and you cover all the art they spent hours for. You might get killed, just so you know.
Less is more.
Next question, please. If there's nobody else?
I think they're waiting for the Pokemon panel next.
Oh yeah.
So, CV, you get one last question to them.
Okay, so comics is stressful. We talked about this. Comics is stressful. You're drawing. Ever since we were children, we all want to work in comics. Now that we've achieved our dream, what do you do in your free time? How do you relax? What do you enjoy to do? Play video games, watch movies?
No, just like
I
everybody
try to
else.
sleep in my sleep time.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's so fun to sleep.
I tried to learn how to draw better, so I could finish quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a bottle of rum that one day I promise to drink when I have a little break. So there you go.
I have so many plans: learn guitar, learn jiu-jitsu, but
I also have a guitar that's never played.
yeah, it's on the.
I should send each other pictures of our unplayed guitars.
It's on my wall.
Me too. It's like the unused guitars club.
Except for joking, I like travel. So as soon as I can, I try to organize travel with my family and visit new places that could inspire me. So yeah, my life is just work, family, and travels.
I think that I look for being with my friends. I love receiving friends in my place, so cook for them and drink something. I really, because we're so lonely where we're working, so I really want to spend my time not working with people.
Federico, what do you like to do in your free time, when you have it?
No, I don't have free time. No. I usually take my Saturday afternoon or, I don't know, play with PlayStation, watch movie, wherever I want, I don't know.
Well, I usually go to see a movie, or sometimes I just see TV, and sometimes I sleep. I take a little sleep to recover myself.
What about you?
I usually just hang out with my wife and my dogs, and just enjoy a little peace and quiet, watch bad TV.
No, yeah, I think what we all trying to say that we are very passionate about what we do, and we spend a lot of time getting better at it, and we do enjoy what we do for work. but it's a passion. So when you work in your passion, you dedicate maybe more time to get better at it. So you can spend hours and hours and hours trying to honing your craft. And that is a very joyful thing to do, but also very time consuming. And so what I try to tell always the young artists is try to learn that work-life balance to really enjoy what to do and just do it for as long as you can so you can enjoy it as better as you can. And try to spend more time with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones, with your wife, with your father, with mother, brother, and because that is time that will nurture your art and will show up in the page. Through experience, through joy, through happiness, you get to do also better work.
Notice that nobody said reading comics in the free time.
No, we're reading scripts. So.
Sibi, you wanted to say something?
No. I think that was a beautiful answer, and I think that's the perfect way to end this panel. We're all here because we love comics, we love entertainment, we love Star Wars, we love movies, we love toys, and we're here to share that love. So thank you all for sharing your stories today. And please, do come by and see us so we can share more.
I want to ask you all, one by one, to give a big round of applause to these guys. First, Mr. Sibi Cebulski.
Thank you.
Mr. Martin Coccolo. Mr. Lucas Werneck. Ms. Bazaldúa. Ms. Elena Casagrande. Mr. Federico Vicentini, who speaks Dutch. Mr. Siad Villa. And Mr. Chris Allen. Thank you so much for being here. I think we would like to take a selfie with the whole room. I don't know how to do it, but let's just try to do it, okay? So don't move.
So everyone, if you can stand please for us. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for inviting us. Thank you so much.